Hey guys, this is Miss Polly. How are y'all today? As y'all can see, I'm wearing my shirt here. This is one of my shirts that I created. As you see, the little chess pieces, and it kind of shows the different kind of dynamics, or the most well-known dynamics in a herd. As you can see, I'm in a different location. I was out on the road, and then I realized I had to do some stuff um, online, so I took a moment and just did that. And I wanted to be in a different surrounding today. So what I wanted to talk about today, and I hope you guys will like this topic because it was really, really something that, hit me. As you don't know, sometimes ideas just hit me and we have to go with that flow, right? So today's conversation is going to be about men who are not necessarily going deeper with their emotional connections with the people. Now, I will say this is not necessarily meaning that only men do this. Um, I do see that women do it, but more so you'll see, men do it. Um, and just, all kinds of different reasons. And so I did want to have that conversation, sometimes, especially it's summertime, y'all gonna be outside. As you hear people say, I'm be outside, right? And some of us who are being outside maybe want to have some relationships, right? And while y'all will be doing this, I'm gonna have a little conversation with you though. And you're trying your best to have this relationship with someone, and what happens is sometimes you'll get into a situation where you're you're getting to know this person, right? And maybe over time, like, you're at that point where you're getting to talk to them about like what you like to do, and things like that. You're kind of getting that real basic interaction at first, which is normal. But then, like, later on as it proceeds, if you're still having those conversations 6 months in, five, I'll even get down to like maybe even 3 months, because I want to say 6 months because it may take, depending on if it's a long distance relationship or not. It could be a situation where it's, you're long distance and you don't see them every day or whatever. But if by 3 months and you've had a lot of so, and sorry for the little spotty. So, like, the real question is like, do you want to be in a situation where you're not really getting to interact with the person that you want to potentially be with for long term in the way you're supposed to interact with someone? Okay, so sometimes, like I said, you're getting about 6 months in, you're still getting that surface. You already answered all the basic questions, like, do you have, you know, what do you want in your relationship? Like, you answered all those questions. So the next step is like really trying to get to know someone emotionally, getting to know how they are on their bad, their good days, their depressed days. You want to see them in all their seasons. That's really, really important. And I'm, just because I date more often because I'm poly, I tend to have more dating experience. Not necessarily like switching out partners all the time, but necessarily dating experience. So being that men tend to, especially in this atmosphere now, not wanting to get too emotionally invested in someone if they're not sure if they're the person they want to go long term with. It is hard to kind of have them open up and then trust you with that openness. Um, and so I find it that it's really difficult to try to build further than that. For me personally, I think it starts to feel like you're in this friendship phase, because after you get to know someone, like, if they have kids and all that stuff, the next phase is kind of like getting to know them in their seasons, like we were talking about. But if you can't get past, like, how are you today? My day was good. Okay. And unless something really, really eventful takes place, you don't have any real conversation about like what emotionally is taking place, or you don't really talk about anything outside of the daily realm, or you don't talk, what, today I went to work and this happened and I feel like this or that. Like you don't get those conversations a lot of the time. And it could feel like you're just a friend, like a casual friend they run into, because shoot, like if you could just tell me, hey, how's your day, dude? Oh, I'm good. High five. Okay, let's go on about something else. Like that's it. Like I think that's cool and everything. And hey, to anybody who came in, since I'm not on my regular devices, I really can't look at the comments. So hey, but like, okay, so Brian, I'm sorry, look at how many real queens have or had boyfriends. None. Oh, hi, Brian. Okay. So, you mean had a boyfriend? Well, queens, yeah, queens. You mean like Cleopatra or something? Okay. Well, anyway, but I'm sorry, we're not trying to get too distracted. Right? I apologize. So, I just want to put this part out, and I'll get back to that. But yes, so you want to be able to have those conversations that are deeper than just surface areas with men. So you really want to try to get them to open up. Now, the whole other thing is we're going to talk about this because this is really important. Um, I see this a lot, especially now. Women, not all, of course, but a lot of women are violating the space for men to feel open and comfortable with you is violated many, many times. Women will take traumas that men have shared with them, and they will throw it in their faces later in arguments, things like that, and then try to go back to a normal relationship, and you can't. Um, especially for Black males, like in the environment that we're in. Being a man's already hard enough, and then you put on being a Black male. If you are open in that space, right? You're opening that space for your partner to come to you and have that conversation with you. There are some things that can't go outside of that moment that you're in because they're being vulnerable with you. And when women take those moments and then throw it in people's faces or do things outside of that, you violate that space, and men are not very forgiving. Most men are not like, let's try it again. They don't want to repeat that same thing. So they're not going to keep doing that. So they're not going to keep opening up a space for you to violate it. It's just not going to work. So when you're in that situation and you open up a space and then they come to you, that's the time for you to hear what they're saying. There should be no judgment. And that's the same for you. If you come to them and you just need a space to be you for a moment, even if it's wrong, right? You just need to be you, and you share something that should not go outside that realm, and it should be held as a sacred place and a sacred conversation. And I think that's a lot of the issues with men really opening up. They can't go any deeper because they've been violated. And then sometimes they'll take that as a trauma and they go to a new relationship and then they will put up this wall and there's nothing more that will take place. And they'll just have this very surface relationship with you. Now, some women are like, they don't really care because they're there for, conditional reasons. And they just care as long as you're hitting these 1, 2, 3, 4. You're financially providing for me. You're protecting me. And, you're, doing what you need to do. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you have trauma, as long as the trauma is not interfering with what we're doing. And what we're doing, I could care less. And there's some people who are like that. Everybody's maybe that. It sounds heartless, but it's kind of that's it's not heartless. It's just knowing what the situation is. The conditions of the relationship are really based on as long as you're providing particular needs. And if you can do that, then you don't have to necessarily open up anymore. And then if you want a relationship, that's fine. But a lot of times, the long-term relationships, some people want more, more than just that. And it also could be a reason why sometimes women are like, oh, I talked to this guy, but he just seemed boring after so long. Because all you're doing is having the same conversation over and over again about your day. And if nothing's really happened eventful in your life in the last month, then yeah, you do look really boring. And then that's when you have to rely on your financial resources to really keep things exciting, and not necessarily exciting like, oh, we're going to a picnic, we're gonna learn, get to interact with each other. I see you how you act in this environment. No, you're just entertaining them. And as long as the entertainment is high, that's fine. But when you're at home by yourselves, they're just boring because you're going to ask them how their day was. They're going to say, oh, it's fine. There's nothing more to that. And if there's nothing more to that, then what's the real purpose of even having a conversation with you? As long as you're doing what you need to do, I'll stay out the way, you do you and I do me. And, for people who want unconditional relationships or maybe relationships where they're emotionally more connected, that's not enough. So to move into a realm of getting to emotionally really connect to someone, I believe that when you get to these relationships and you start feeling that, speak up about it, say, hey, you know what, that's cool. I know I asked you about your day. You tell me it's good, but like, tell me something more about you. Like, ask them things, stories about themselves. Usually people open up when they talk about themselves and what they did in their past because they reminisce. And in those moments, you can actually see emotion. You can see their emotion, the happiness they felt, maybe the sadness they felt, and you can see those emotions, and they're sharing it with you. You're finding out what makes them them. Asking about some of the stories they share. Ask them about, hey, have you ever had this happen? Maybe if you watched a movie, you can say like, hey, is that ever happened to you or something like that? You really just trying to get to know their personality more, having them in situations that they maybe had an experience in and they can share that with you. So, and none of that, like I said, once again, you're talking about surface stuff. So like, oh yeah, that's happened before. It was okay. No, that's not. That's not the answer you want. I want to say, okay, when that happened, like, what did that make you feel? Like, how'd you feel when that happened to you? You have to push, because if they do close in responses, it kind of leaves you with nothing. So you have to kind of leave it open so they can expound on that. And if they're not doing that and you want that, you have to communicate that also. So I think that's really important. Um, I, like I said, this conversation, because I am a woman and we're talking about men and how they can open up. I may go ahead and open up the floor to possibly have this conversation on maybe knowledge and relationships, or maybe another platform where we can have a conversation about that space. Because, this is my point of view from me dating, but the point of view of men is really important too. So I did want to just speak on it today. And then I want to make another video about women providing a safe space for your partner and learning when, when you can use the information to benefit your relationship and not tear it down. Because if someone tells you, hey, you know what, this happened to me, this triggers me, what I mean by using the information is that using the information so that you can make better decisions about your situations. Because some people feel violated. Like some things that you think, remember, it's not you, you're not dating you, you're dating the other person. So if someone, let's say for something like some people, above everything is loyalty. Some people above everything is honesty. And let's say someone is like, okay, listen, I don't really care what you do as long as you come to me and you're honest about what happened and you tell me what's going on. You keep me in the loop and then we can fix things from there. But I love to be in the loop. And if you don't allow me to have the information, then I feel violated. And since this happened to me, whatever happened, this is a big no-no for me. This is a trigger for me. And then I probably won't ever trust you again. I don't know if I'd be in a relationship with you still. Some people have wounds that they're such a big trigger that they can't even be in a situation where someone does that to them. So you have to use that information to say, hey, you know what? I do this, and that may trigger them. Let's not do that again. Or if it's just, hey, they just told me this, and this is just for us so they can share with me and be open to the conversation. So you have to use that information in the proper way and then allow them to have their moments. You don't want to call your partner weak or all these things like that because you see a side of them that everyone else is saying you're not supposed to see. This overwhelming masculinity that some men put on. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be a masculine man. What I'm saying is we are people and we all have different emotions, different times. And if you want to be in a safe place with your partner, being able to share all your emotions is very, very important. So being able to share that information with them is really key to being very emotionally connected to your partner and keeping it fresh because this is people like, oh, well, I know them back and forth. Realistically, as people get older, they grow and change. So for you to know your partner should always be growing and changing. You should always be learning something new. They could change their emotions. Oh, they could change their ideas. They could change their view because something inspired them or something made them think twice about or an experience happened and it changed them. So you don't know your partner to that extent where they'll never change, they'll never grow. And if they do grow and change, you're always learning about them. So it can never really be boring if you have a really good emotional connection with your partner. And this is why these kind of things are important when you want to have, a good emotional relationship with someone, a good unconditional relationship with someone, which is a further step in building a really strong bond with someone. Because you can be conditional all day. Conditional relationships are very easy because you know how to stay in the lines. And unconditional relationships are a lot more connection, and I think they are a lot more intense. They're intense. And that's why a lot of people who don't want to do with unconditional relationships because people can get hurt. And that's true. That's very, very true. You can get hurt more mentally in those relationships, but those relationships are way more intense and way more meaningful if they're done correctly. So I just want to throw that in the air. I don't want to make it too long video. Like I said, I did want to just hit this subject up, and I definitely want to have another discussion with some gentlemen and kind of get their point of views and share those things with you guys. But I appreciate you guys stopping in and checking in. Like I said, here we talk about relationships and how people connect with each other. If you're just now joining in, I appreciate it. You guys can rewind back, but definitely want you guys to take the time to think, what kind of relationships you would like to be in. Men take the time to really think about like how you can make a deeper connection with your partner, if that's something you want to do with that particular person. Because, we all want something different. So you have to, kind of fill that out. But I definitely want to thank you guys for joining me today and sharing a little time with me. And I'll let you guys go. Be great today. Be powerful in your movements. Be aware, self-aware of your things that you do. And always strive for greatness. I want to just share that with you guys today. Maybe help somebody in their time today and be productive today. Like, even if it's something small, take the time to make those steps to get closer to your goals. One day at a time. One day at a time. So I'll let you guys go. You have a good day.